Today, BYD stock price went down by 8.5%. And the irony of that is that today marks the day when BYD achieved something truly historically great. In fact, it's never been done by any Chinese car company in history. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel on the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back to everyone else. And to those of you who have been around for a while, I've been talking about BYD since I started this channel. Been more than a year and a half since I've been saying that BYD would become one of the two largest automakers in the world by 2030. And I'm still confident that that's going to happen, which is why I still own their shares, don't plan on selling them. And in fact, I even bought more shares today. Right after they went down by 8%, I said, thank you very much. BYD, also Tesla. I'll take some more of those. Yes, I mean, it's difficult to do that. Why is it difficult? Well, the stock price, stock companies, they're all collapsing right now, going down. But remember, if you invest in the stock market, it's really gambling if you're doing this for the short term. If you're thinking, well, if the price is up in a year, I'm going to sell it, or, how do I feel today about it? Well, to me, that's just like you might as well go play blackjack. Go play blackjack. Isn't there like a 40% chance of winning in blackjack, right? Probably more chance of winning in blackjack if you're going to get than versus gambling on the stock market. So I look at this as a 10-year time horizon. The price is lower today than what I think it should be, way lower than what I think it should be based on this fact I'm about to share with you. Therefore, thank you very much. I'll have some more of those. So, interestingly, BYD just achieved something truly historically great. Now, first of all, I have ordered a BYD car. I don't have it yet. I've paid for it. I think I paid maybe 2 weeks ago. I haven't even got confirmation from the company, the distributor of BYD here in Australia, that they've even received the money. So don't tell my wife that, otherwise she'll start freaking out. But I don't even know if they've received the money. It's been 2 weeks. I fast-tracked it. I paid a $30 fee to make sure that they got the money the same day. Who knows? I don't have any emails about when I can pick it up. I've got no idea what's going on. But that's the distributor of the company in Australia. That's not BYD, the company itself. That's a completely different business. Hard to believe, but it's true. In China, where BYD runs its own operation, it doesn't have any local distributors, does it all itself, sells direct to the public essentially. Well, that's where they've just achieved something that's insane. They are now, without a doubt, the biggest car maker in China. Pretty much, there's never been a local car company that has been the biggest car maker in China, at least not in modern Chinese history. It's basically never happened. Some of you might be saying, well, Volkswagen's still ahead by just a tiny bit if you put all their sales together, but actually that's not really true. The reason that's not true is, well, I'll share with you the reason. First of all, let's have a look at the numbers. The top 15 auto brands in October by market share. BYD has 11.2% of the entire Chinese car market. Volkswagen / FAW joint venture has 7.4%, Geely 7.3%, Chang'an 6.7%, SAIC Volkswagen 6.2%. So that's obviously a joint venture between SAIC and Volkswagen. GAC Toyota 4.8%, Dongfeng Nissan 4.7%. You can see here, right? Chinese automotive companies have done something which is actually historic. They now hold 3 of the top 4 positions on that list. Now, realistically, you'd be right in claiming that Volkswagen, if you put their percentages together here with FAW and then their joint venture with SAIC, you put them together and you're looking at about 12%. So technically Volkswagen have 0.8% more than BYD, but the reality is that's not true, not by a long shot. Why isn't it true? Well, the media have been doing something that I think is intellectually dishonest. I reported on this about 6 months ago. They always claim that every car they sell in China, legacy auto, every car that Toyota, Volkswagen, Ford, General Motors, Mazda, Nissan, etc., every single car that they sell in China, even though they're made by Chinese car companies and at best owned 50% by those legacy automotive companies, at worst, sometimes those legacy automotive companies only own 30% of that joint venture. They still claim right? They always claim the sales for who? For those Japanese, American, European automotive companies. They always claim the sales. They never say, look, here's the sales figures for SAIC this year. They are 5 million. Here's the sales for Volkswagen this year. They are 4 million. They never ever give the sale to the Chinese car company, even though much of the time the Chinese car company owns more of that joint venture than the non-Chinese car company that they have a joint partnership deal with. To me, that's dishonest. I mean, we see this car sales, right? We see Toyota will say, oh, we sold 10 million cars last year. And, well, it's almost true, but not really. Because, see those numbers here? GAC Toyota, who makes Toyotas in China? GAC do. Toyota only own around 49% of that joint venture partnership, and yet they claim 100% of those vehicle sales. The fair thing to do would be to claim the 49% that they own. So therefore, if the company sold, say, 1 million vehicles in China or 2 million vehicles in China, they would claim, 900 and something thousand. That would be the fair number, but they never, ever do that. So the truth is, Volkswagen really have a much smaller amount of shares if you actually fairly look at and fairly judge the company. They only own 50% in both of their joint ventures. So if you give them 50% of the sales, that means BYD is actually way ahead of Volkswagen, and it's not even close. And that means for the first time in China's history, a local automotive company is the biggest selling vehicle company in the country. The thing is, you might be saying, well, that might be for a month, who cares? But actually, it's not for 1 month. This is now the rule. Retail sales of BYD's passenger cars in China in October were 206,000, contributing 11.2% of all passenger car sales in the country, according to data released by the Chinese Passenger Car Association. BYD sold 217,816 new energy vehicles worldwide in October, including 217,518 passenger cars and 300 commercial vehicles. That puts BYD at a current run rate of 2.6 million vehicles per year, close to 1.3 million purely electric cars and 1.3 million plug-in hybrids. That makes them easily, far and away, the second biggest fully electric vehicle manufacturer in the world. Of course, if you're talking about plug-in hybrids together with EVs, they're the biggest in the world by a fairly big margin. And the scary part is, although BYD are now the biggest in China, they're nowhere near content with that. They're aiming for 3.5 million sales next year, which would make them probably around the 5th or 6th biggest automotive company in the world next year. The speed at which they're growing is truly staggering. It's actually even faster than Tesla's growth for the last 6 months. In October, BYD sold 9,530 vehicles, mostly electric ones, in overseas markets, including Australia, New Zealand, Europe, and Southeast Asia. The company stopped production and sales of vehicles powered entirely by internal combustion engines, gas, diesel, petrol, etc., back in February of this year. Now, I think they actually stopped it in December of last year, and they just sold whatever they had left over in January and February this year. China's sales of passenger cars increased 7.5% to 1.842 million units in October, which is actually down 4.2% from September. But keep in mind, this is a car market that historically averages around 23 million vehicles per year. It's by far the biggest car market in the world, and BYD are completely dominating it. There's more competition there than you can possibly imagine. Competition there it's insane. And somehow BYD have managed to make vehicles, produce them, at a price that customers will pay versus all the competition, or most of the competition, and still make a profit. That's what they're doing right now. It's absolutely mind-boggling. It's clear that BYD and Tesla, these are the two car companies, when it comes to manufacturing, they are just light years ahead of everyone else. And I can't say this strongly enough. Look at their growth. Look at their growth when everyone else is skidding backwards. Everyone else is basically skidding down the slope. Tesla and BYD, they're just saying, see you guys, and then walking up the mountain with ease. It's actually kind of crazy that no one's really talking about this. I mean, none of the Western media have mentioned this at all. None of them. They're probably trying to keep it quiet, probably trying to pretend that what's happening in China right now isn't really happening. What's happening in China? Well, clearly, legacy automotive companies, they're screwed, because For many legacy automotive companies, in particular Volkswagen, the majority of their profit is actually made in China. Well, when I say the majority, not the majority, but their largest percentage of profit per country is made in China. For example, 40% of Volkswagen's profits come from China. So who do you think's suffering as a result of BYD's rise? Someone has to suffer. One of them, Volkswagen. Who else? Well, obviously, every single legacy automotive company is suffering. In fact, I predict that all of them will lose at least 80% market share by 2030. And what does that mean for them? It means enormous trouble. This gives you a good idea of just how bad it is. In 2019, Volkswagen sold 3.1 million vehicles in China. In 2020, that number was 2.6 million. In 2021, that number was 2.1 million. Now, yes, they do make EVs, but what percentage of the vehicles they're producing right now in China are electric? Well, it's around 10%. What's going to happen to the Chinese car market next year? Most analysts say the market will hit 45% electric next year. What's going to happen to Volkswagen as a result of that? Well, it's obvious, right? We can all put two and two together. We're not children. We're not people who are die-hard Volkswagen fans. So logically, we can see the writing on the wall for these car companies in China. And that is essentially, they will probably almost cease to exist by 2040 in China. And that means, well, it means massive revenue losses. It means that their ability to actually sell at volume at a low margin and make that work for them may not actually work for them in the future. I personally think if anyone is crazy enough to invest in any legacy automotive company right now, they need to have their sanity checked. BYD have led the auto market in China now for 4 straight months. That is not going to change. Next year, they say they'll produce 3.5 to 4 million cars. What's it going to be by 2030? Well, I'm going to go with 8 million. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.